Last year I sat down for a long chat with Chris Vail, the CEO and founder of NTH Watches. Due to the time difference, I spoke to Chris from my home office, hence the alternate office decor. In a series of 4 videos, we covered many subjects watch-related. In this video, we talked specifically about military watches, from Chris's time with the US Rangers to my own experience with such models, and where we think military watches should go with regards to development. We also talk about the Mac, which is a very special project for Chris. What I wanted to touch on briefly, because this is one thing that's probably not NTH related, is obviously you've been issued and you've been around military watches for a big portion of your life. What were you issued with, and did it inspire you at all? And also maybe what would have been the best military watch, or maybe the worst, I don't know, that you were issued with at any given time?
Well, first off, let me correct you. I was never issued a watch. I wish I was.
Okay, I just thought they
The,
gave you one with your M4.
no, God, they made us buy them if we wanted one. So so yeah, I was in the military, and when I was in, this was the mid '90s. I was a medic with the Rangers. A lot of the guys in my unit would wear either a Timex Ironman, some of the early G-Shocks, some Casio analog digital things, which I always thought were very sharp looking. Um, and that was kind of what we wore. Some guys just wore whatever was sold at the post exchange or the base exchange, which was typically like a very cheap resin cased quartz, whatever, a Hamilton or I don't know, probably a Timex maybe. I don't know. And I don't remember what those were. But it's funny. So I have a friend and a customer from the UK who was also a military veteran and a former member of your police force. I don't know. I know you have different kinds of police there. I don't know if he was a Bobby or constable. I honestly don't know, but he was a former member of the police. And so at one point, I kind of asked him, help me figure out sort of what, if we were going to make the ultimate military watch, what would it be? Would it have a DLC case? Would it have a bracelet, or would it strictly come on a strap? Would it have fixed lug bars, no spring bars? Would it have tons of lume? Would it be superluminova or tritium? Would it, I don't know, would it have a bezel? Would it just be a field watch? What is it? You know, what's sort of the Swiss Army knife of watches, if you will? And, you know, we kind of bounced that back and forth, and he gave me a bunch of different examples, none of which really led directly to the Mac. The Mac came along a couple of years later, but it was an interesting exercise in sort of debating and weighing the pros and cons of different approaches, the Flieger, the field watch, the chronograph, the dive watch, the mill sub. All of these, I think, have legitimate claim to being iconic military issue watches. And I don't know that you can really pick one and say that's the best. That's the one that really does it all the best. But for my purposes, we had the NTH subs. It was a successful formula, as you've said, very capable. When I was with the Rangers, we had a dive team because we were in the swamps and we had to have dive operations. So a lot of those guys wore diving watches. And I thought, you know, a thin steel diving watch, even for an infantry soldier, was not a bad choice. So how could we take that basic formula and make it more of a tribute to a guy like Sergeant Mack, who was an infantry soldier? So we added the field watch numbering, and that sort of light brown bezel insert. All of our bezel inserts, not for the WatchGecko subs because those are aluminum, or as you say, aluminium, but all of my subs are stainless steel inserts that we add a PVD or DLC coating to get the color. And quite honestly, the color choices are really limited, which is why we typically kind of stick to black and blue and the occasional brown or burgundy. The color choices beyond that get very, very strange. But I have this sample book here on my desk, and I look at it every so often, and constantly come back to this sort of olive drab, brownish khaki color that I think they call khaki.
Yeah, it looks like
This
a
is like
khaki, yeah.
yeah, I have the book here. Here we go. I'll find it very quickly. So I've been coming back to this for a while, and for a while I've been thinking I have to find a way to use this color um, in the watch. So this is the sample book with my hand scribbled notes on it, but this is the color down here for the
Right.
Mac bezel.
Okay.
And I'm sure the camera probably doesn't do it justice, but that's the color that we picked. And I thought it was a fairly reasonable match for some of the tones in like desert camouflage. And Mac died in Iraq. He served in the original Desert Storm. Um, and so, it was a labor of love, that project. We put the gold from the Army logo on the dial with his name. But yeah, I mean, if you take away the story and the inspiration, what you're left with is it a good looking watch? Does it perform its function well? Is it capable in its specs and components, but also as a design? Is it legible? Is it functional? And I think it holds up on its own, even without the story backing it up.
I find it quite an emotive color that it's in, because I think if you've been to places, that you've been to, and some places that I've been to, you've come across that sort of tone and that sort of color a lot. And I think it is quite emotive, and it's interesting how you can actually enhance a story with the correct choice of color. And you're right, you're so right what you say, that there's an awful lot of blacks and grays and blues and things out there. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what just makes the Mac stand out, because the bezel is such an unusual color, and to certain people it is an emotive color. You know exactly what the manufacturer is trying to achieve with that color. Many thanks for watching this video. Check out all 4 in the series with Chris, and don't forget to subscribe to the WatchGecko YouTube channel and the magazine for the latest news, reviews and conversations.